we've had our fair share of conversations about superstars going from teams to other teams, trades, etc., etc. We could still talk about more. Like, I wanted to go out there and make a video about Austin Matthews and the Arizona Coyotes, but then I realized the most recent video on the channel was also sort of relating to the Leafs. So I kind of scrapped that and said, okay, what other topics are there on the chopping block? And I stumbled upon a quote from New York Rangers forward Patrick Kane, kind of indicating what he's feeling towards his future in the National Hockey League. Now, Patrick Kane, of course, subject to today's video, we're going to be talking about him. This is the Kane video, after all. Going to be a free agent soon. He's coming off of a $10.5 million AAV salary, which was signed all the way back in 2015, I believe it was. Ever since him and Toews won those Stanley Cups, 3 in the span of 6 seasons, they both got paid, and now they're both going to be free agents for the first time ever. Patrick Kane was a member of the Blackhawks this season, where he had 45 points in 54 games played, a pretty steep drop-off from the 92 points he had last year, although the departure of Alex DeBrincat and other talented players in Chicago definitely contributed to Kane's lack of production, I guess you could say. And then he got traded over to the Rangers, had 12 points in 19 games with them in the regular season, and 6 points in their 7-game first-round series to the Devils. I honestly think that Patrick Kane was a lot better than some of the other Rangers fans seem to have been saying, because I don't know, I watched that Game 7, I thought it was really bad from the Rangers' point of view, but I thought Patrick Kane was one of the only guys actually trying to do stuff. Now, of course, there have been a lot of other Rangers fans that I've been saying that they'd rather keep Tarasenko over Kane, and that definitely makes sense. Tarasenko is younger, Tarasenko is a little bit more poised, and he has more to earn, I think, at this stage in his NHL career. But for Patrick Kane, the entire idea as to where he's going to go next has sort of been looming over everybody's head. This especially became more apparent when you listen to the exit interviews and you listen to what Kane had to say about the Rangers. This was actually pointed out a few times by people on Twitter and social media platforms like Reddit, but whenever Kane was asked about the Rangers, he always said, they've got a good team, they've got a good organization, they this, they that, they. He never said we. Which is interesting, because when you're thinking about what a player's attitude normally is in regards to talking about the team they played for and talking about where their heart lies, it's language like this that really goes out there and solidifies what the player is thinking, subconsciously for sure. And this might be a very well calculated sort of move. Maybe Patrick Kane is not giving the Rangers the benefit of saying, oh, you want to come back, we know you do, so here's a contract that's cheap. Maybe he's putting them on the leash a little bit, kind of making their jobs a little bit more difficult. And so, if he does that, he might get more money, and maybe it's a negotiation tactic, who really knows. But there also was another conversation I wanted to talk about with Kane as well, and it was one that we had talked about once that draft lottery concluded last week, that because Chicago had that first overall pick, maybe it would entice a player like Kane to returning. Now, here is the quote from Patrick Kane from a few weeks ago. This is before the draft lottery was won. Patrick Kane was asked about returning to the Blackhawks in free agency back on May the 3rd, and he said, they're rebuilding, so that's never crossed my mind, to be honest with you. And sure, while Connor Bedard is not going to go out there and turn a Chicago Blackhawks team from third last in the NHL, a rebuilding squad, into a President's Trophy winner anytime in the next 2-3 years. Okay, maybe 3 years, honestly. Bedard is that good. Who really knows? But because Connor Bedard is only one hockey player, you can't realistically expect one individual guy to change the fate of a franchise overnight. We had talked this entire time about New Jersey and how they were one of the worst teams in the NHL last year, and now they're one of the best, so that's a quick turnaround, but they had a really good supporting cast and rising group of stars to be able to carry that torch. Jack Hughes went from a mediocre guy to a fantastic player. Dougie Hamilton improved like crazy. You got the goaltending situation that fixed itself. Nico Hischier took big steps. And of course, everybody else that was good was still good. Jesper Bratt was good. You got Andre Palat. You got some other names. It was nice. For Chicago, one Connor Bedard is not going to take them from third last all the way to the top of the NHL, especially when you consider that for the majority of the season, Chicago already had Patrick Kane and Toews. So next season, without them, they're probably going to be in an even worse position, even if they get Connor Bedard. There's going to be a lot of moving pieces that need to address different areas of this lineup if you want to say Chicago can be competitive right away. And that's sort of why Patrick Kane is like, yeah, no, I mean, I'm not thinking about going to them. They're rebuilding. However, what if? You know? Like, what if there is that benefit of the doubt that says that Connor Bedard is that good? What if Connor Bedard is so talented and so amazing that a player like Patty Kane is like, screw it. Let's go back over there. I want to play with this kid. Of course, I'm not going to say that's guaranteed to happening, but Patrick Kane and Connor Bedard together seems like a really interesting idea, and it's even more interesting when you acknowledge that Connor Bedard sort of plays like Patrick Kane in a way, just with a much better shot. They're both deceptive, they're both really calm and smooth and skilled, and they do what they need to do to get around players. Connor Bedard has an activation gear that allows him to just take over shifts. Patrick Kane has the same thing. You could say that Patrick Kane's level to really dominate a game or a shift is not where it was before because he's no longer 25 years old. He's 34 now. So you could definitely make the debate that Patrick Kane isn't there, but you gotta remember Patty Kane had 92 points last year. Playing with DeBrincat, playing with a bunch of other Hawks that are not on the team anymore and that are not going to rejoin the team next season. But if Patty Kane decided to come back, I don't know if that would be too bad of an idea. I see a lot of Rangers fans as well saying, yeah, no, you could keep him. Like, okay, cool, we don't want him on our team anymore. We'd rather keep Tarasenko. So that idea that I'd been seeing thrown around there, plus how with Patrick Kane made his comments at the exit interviews, it makes me really think that we have a bidding war that's going to go on in the summer. We've got teams that are probably going to line up and want to give him some money. Who knows how much? Like, of course, Patty Kane is, dare I say, a washed-up superstar. I know he had 90 points last season, but he's 34, so you can't really say he's in his prime anymore. But of course, he is a talented enough player to play in the league and to give money to. It just depends on what teams are willing to go out there and risk in terms of their own salary cap to do that. And if Kane himself, whether or not he wants to go for a short-term deal, 1 year, 2 years, or a long-term deal, let's say 3, 4, 5, I mean, that's going to take him until he's 39, 40 years old even. So at this point, anything above 3 or 4 years is taking you probably to the end of his career. So you kind of have to think about that too if you're Patrick Kane. Do you want to send off your career in the playoffs with a team that's guaranteed to being good in the next few years, or would you rather go back to Chicago, try to rebuild with them with Connor Bedard at your side, go through a 35 and 36-year-old season where you're with a bad team again, and then when you're 38, the Blackhawks will be good again and you'll be a part of that? Okay, when you say it like that, I think I'm really starting to understand Patty Kane's point when he's like, yeah, no, they're rebuilding. It hasn't really crossed my mind. But I don't know. Connor Bedard is a different beast of a hockey player, so we'll see whether or not that entices somebody like Kane to return. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is this even an idea worth discussing? Do you think there was any remote possibility that Patrick Kane would have been interested in joining the Blackhawks once again before he made the comments a few weeks ago? That was before they won the draft lottery, so who knows if things have changed now? All it takes is another free agent to go over to Chicago and decide that they want to get some career-high numbers playing with Connor Bedard to change the fate of this organization for the short-term future. Maybe a superstar free agent player signs with Chicago, and it entices Patrick Kane to say, okay, well, crap, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go there. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I think it's a pretty interesting conversation because with Rangers fans expressing their disinterest in bringing Kane back, it does kind of pique my interest as to whether or not Blackhawks fans would want him back too. I don't know if you guys really want to tank next year, right? I mean, Connor Bedard's going to your team. Do you want to be a bottom feeder team while this guy's starting out his NHL career? I know what happened with Jack Hughes and McDavid to an extent, but would you want to try to accelerate that rebuild now that Bedard is here? Or not here yet. Gotta wait till the draft, but you know what I mean. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.